You are muted.
I am muted. Hey, good morning, everybody.
Wow, is it 2020? What's happening?
Man, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the NBA Daily Morning Shoot Around. I'm Dave DuFour, unmuted now, here with Zena Keita and Baraheni. Going to do a little mailbag edition of the show. Kind of looking ahead, thinking about the playoffs. Only 6 weeks to go. Yep. Before we get to the questions, guys, something that we didn't hit on the show this morning, the NBC throwback broadcast, the NBA on NBC. I mean, you guys didn't grow up with this necessarily, so I'm very curious about your opinion of it first. Like, did it mean anything to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, like I think from the perspective, well, I'll just give you my experience. I used to have NBA TV as a kid, and a lot of my base knowledge of basketball was like, I'm sick, like I am today. I'm off from school, so on a Tuesday, I'm watching Hakeem do a dream shake versus
throwback, right? The old NBA classics and stuff. That's
exactly.
I mean, ESPN classics used to be a big thing.
Totally.
When I was
that does not exist. I don't know if NBA TV does that anymore, or if it's as accessible because cable no longer is a worthy platform. But ultimately, that was what allowed me to learn more and also watch those old NBC broadcasts. So I know, like, Bob
so you
Costas
had a little bit of a through line.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So seeing that was just like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, and I had that nostalgic feeling. You know,
Mine was more so just appreciation for the voices.
Right.
Like I think there was and still is, but for sure back then, an appreciation for like creamy voices, for voices that just felt very recognizable, but also like home and very like you're hanging out with the guys. And I think that Doug Collins and Mike Fratello, like they have those kind of voices. Bob Costas, of course.
Yeah.
He was our guy for years on NBC through the Olympics, through everything. So it just felt very recognizable and like at home.
Also, it's a different style. I'll give my experience. I mean, look, I grew up with these guys calling the big games. Mike Fratello, by the way, they gave him, he did the telestrator, which they just don't really do on broadcast. And I thought that was pretty fun, the czar of the telestrator. And you listen to Doug Collins, and even the way that they sort of called the game was different.
Doug Collins is awesome.
Yeah, he's really good. I mean, his pronunciation of Victor Wembanyama, whatever, it's fine.
Wembanyama.
He was trying.
He just kind of rolled through it.
Yeah, he was trying, but like he's trying to catch up. But I thought he was great. He added a lot to the broadcast. And listening to these guys that I heard as a kid talk about Victor Wembanyama in particular, because he's the future of the NBA. And the way that Doug Collins was describing him playing defense, I thought a lot of the people who are doing, the color analyst job could probably learn from the way that he simplified talking about the game.
That's what I felt as a person that does and wants to do more color analyzing. It wasn't even just Wembanyama. At one point, he broke down Carter Bryant's game and just talking about like how he plays with energy and like excitement. Like, and it is that simple sometimes of what you bring to the floor. I really like that there was an appreciation for effort but also being able to just like break down how that translates into good basketball as well.
Yeah. And then there's the old school approach where it didn't feel like anyone was trying to get their stuff in, right? There was plenty of space for all three guys to breathe. Bob Costas was really good, I thought, at laying off when Mike Fratello and Doug Collins, I don't know, it felt like a throwback sports broadcast. But that's actually the thing about the NBC coverage this year, like, which we talked about on and off, is that NBC presents the NBA as a sport, not as a drama, which is kind of what we've been used to. And it's been a pretty refreshing season. I thought it was fun to do the throwback. I don't think they need to do it, again necessarily, because let's look forward. But anyway, I thought it was cool.
I like the score bug. That was a cool ad.
Great. It's a little bit too big, right?
It was too big.
A little
and
bit.
if they really wanted to do it, they would keep taking the score bug away, because that was something that would annoy me as a kid. I'd be like, what is the score? And then it would just pop up halfway.
You guys
through.
have no idea what watching sports was like in the 80s.
You went through it, didn't you?
I did go through it. And I mean, look, it was better. in a lot of ways.
Dude, it was insane. I remember watching like a Lakers Celtics game in the 80s on one of these hardwood classics, and I'd be like, what is the score?
Listen, man, there's a lot of vibes out there, right? I don't need to know. I'm just watching the game. Why do I need to
they were trying to
make score?
They were trying to make sure that you were paying attention back then. Okay. Nowadays, it's like you could just look down, see it, keep it moving. But they were like, you need to lock in.
Well, they weren't. There was not a lot of action on the court, right? Like, there's not a lot of movement. You didn't have to follow
a mental score, though. I like that.
That's right.
I'm telling you, lock in.
Yeah. Well, and then also the guys calling the game were just so much important to describing the action, and it's like leftover from radio. Anyway, hey, so we decided to do a mailbag episode. And we took questions from our Discord. Don't forget, guys, we've got a Discord for now. The link is in the show description. Come and join us. We hang out. We talk hoops. People share clips. It's a pretty good place. And what we're going to do. Oh, so someone in the chat hit me. What happened to anti-nostalgia Dave? Okay, listen. I am anti-nostalgia. And I actually talked to S about this last night.
It's true. Yeah.
This was done pretty well. And if it's a one-off, hey, it's a nice tribute. I have no problem with tributes. It's this thing where it's the only thing we have to hang our hat on is nostalgia. That is it's a path to disaster. It's actually bad for your society. If we want to get, I don't want to get into philosophy on this, but it's bad for your society, leads to nationalism long term. So anyway,
the good old days.
Right. It's a bad. Anyway, so S is going to be our question master today because I can't seem to get Discord pulled up right here in front of me. So S, what's the first question?
Okay, so from H. Falor Thorin, and honestly, I'm so sorry if I'm mispronouncing these ats. I have I genuinely have no idea what the at is here.
Thor?
No,
okay.
Not really. Anyways, okay, what are your dream matchups for the playoffs?
Ooh, okay, give me one series. Yeah, one series that you guys want to see.
Definitely Denver, OKC.
I was going to say OKC San Antonio.
I mean, there's a chance we're getting both, right?
Yeah.
We should, theoretically. Depends on the seeds.
We will at least get one of those.
We may get Denver OKC, or we may get Denver San Antonio.
Right. Yeah.
Instead.
And then, okay.
Which I would also be down for. I think Denver, San Antonio, any combination of those three would be awesome.
And Minnesota, nobody's mentioned, but I feel like Minnesota against, I don't want to see Minnesota Denver again, actually, because it feels Minnesota might have their number.
Yeah, but also, I mean, does Minnesota have what it takes to beat OKC?
That's a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so
we spent a lot in the West.
On
the East.
Well, my dream matchup in the East is Detroit Charlotte.
That's what I want.
That's what I want. Round one.
That's a really good one.
So bad. Look,
I
number
like
one,
Detroit, Charlotte. I like, especially after seeing the game without Donovan Mitchell, Cavs Pistons. I like that matchup as well.
I like
we
it for
had
the Cavs
last
now.
year. We got to see New York, Detroit,
and
people still have questions about how that series ended. That would be a really good one to get back.
I would like a rematch of Boston, New York with Jason Tatum healthy. I think that would be really interesting because of how that series played out last year. There's the theatrical element of Tatum coming back against the team that he tore his Achilles against, and obviously how the Celtics blew that series in the first couple of games, being up by like 20 in the first two games and then blowing them both. Like, I think that level of theatrical, I don't know.
I think it could be just theater.
That level of theater. Yes. That level of theater would be good for playoff basketball. Also, just to give them some love, since they've played some pretty good games over the last couple games or last couple weeks. Cavs Pistons. Let's see some Cavs Pistons.
That
would be good. That'd be good. Pistons Hornets, though. That's the one.
Hornets, anyone.
It could be a 5-game series, but I think it'll be a fun 5 games.
Yeah. Selfishly, Raptors Knicks, just so I can cover a game at Madison Square Garden. That's very selfish.
That would be fire. Yeah.
Okay, I got another question for you. Chris Mack says, how many games Trey will play to close out the Wizards season?
Oh, you know what?
Let's get an over.
I made a guess on this one. Let's say over under. How many games are left? They got 20. 26?
That's a great question,
25?
Dave. I should probably have had that answer available to you. Listen, they are 16 and 45 right now.
So they've got 21 games left.
21 games.
They've got 21.
I'm going to say, let's set the number at 10 and a half, right in the middle. Set the over under 10 and a half games.
I'm going to go under. I'm
going under. Yeah.
Going
okay.
under.
So we're all under. In the chat,
rest every back-to-back.
We got 10 max. That's what I say. I say it's going to be at most 10 games. It feels to me like I think that people started making phone calls after the Utah Jazz got fined. I think that the pushback on that we've heard from, I mean, Rick Carlisle pushing back on the Pacers getting fined. I think that the league probably made some phone calls and was like, hey, look, what you're doing up here, like, it's just not going to fly. You've got to do it in a way that's, I don't know, at least more socially acceptable or something. So, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if some more of these guys that we thought might be on the shelf come back.
Yeah, no, and at least play. Like the thing with that Jazz game against the Nuggets, no Jaren Jackson Jr., obviously. I don't believe Larry Marketing played in that game either, but Keontae George was the guy playing. If you can sort of sift through your core players and play them kind of in intervals, you know,
almost
intervals,
not in the game, but within between games.
In between games,
my sensibility so much.
Look, I'm just saying, as a person who has experienced the tank in a very marvelous way, there are ways to get around it here. And you can, if you're the Wizards, you can rest your entire young group one game while also having Trae Young, and then bring your young group out.
At least play Trae Young at home. How about this? Play Trae Young at home.
Sure.
I think that's a really good point. Like, appease the people that have supported you and are your home base.
It would be cool
at least.
Yeah.
And create rivalries when you don't play your good players in other cities so that the fans there can get mad at you. Hey, I'm wasting my money to watch the Wizards. Yeah. Look, it's, you know, shout out to Lawrence Field in the chat, also from the Discord. It's one thing to construct a horrible team. That's right. It's another thing to throw games.
That's right.
Listen,
That's
man.
right. That's right.
All right, S. What's next?
Okay. iPod Shun says, don't know if this will make the stream. Well, congratulations. It's made
the stream. Of course it was. Come on. That guy, he's an insider. So,
there you go.
What if the players that make the All-Star team stay eligible for end of season awards? So kind of a way to counteract.
Like no matter what.
Yeah.
See, now now you're creating a 2-tier system, and we've got a class issue. And legitimately, okay, look, it needs to be one blanket set of rules. And I understand that the story of the season gets told through those awards, and the 65 game rule is going to ruin that. You just got to throw out the 65 game rule.
Yeah, I agree.
That rule already was in place for voters, especially on the big awards. And it doesn't really matter as much. You know, look, all NBA, maybe you set 65 game rule. That's fine. But it doesn't need to happen for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, like the big awards.
Yeah,
we do not need that. And unfortunately, as a way to appease owners, the Players Association and the owners decided to shoot the league's narrative in the foot. I mean, I think that that was a huge mistake from day one. But there is no blanket fix. I think they've got to go to the negotiating table and get rid of the rule.
I'll also say, like,
or
Shea should be the MVP this year. I think at this point, right? Jokic,
and he will be. Like, I think
he's going to be. He's going to play the number of games, but it's in doubt not because of what he's done. It's in doubt because he might not play an arbitrary number of games. I think that's silly.
Right. I think if you're going to do it where for all NBA there is a 65 game rule and there's not one for the larger awards,
right?
And the NBA is pushing back, like, we do have to have a threshold to meet it, right? You can't just score 50 points in 20 games, get those wins, and then sit out for the rest of the season. And it's like, yes, you were incredibly valuable in that stretch of 20 games, but we need you to play more than a fourth.
But the voters already did that, right? Like, no guy is winning the MVP playing 50 games, and no guy is like. We already were doing that when we were discussed this stuff. So they were solving for something, in my opinion, there, Zena, where the problem didn't exist.
Yeah,
I will say
if they do need a number, I just think that they reduce it, right? Like, you don't have to have.
I think also, like,
Yeah.
This is invalidating your current system, like your governing body, which is the voters of these things. You are basically saying we do not trust you to sift through the data, sift through the numbers, sift through watching basketball when a guy has played 67 games and another guy has played 63 games and discern which one has had a better season. So I think it's kind of telling on yourself, truthfully, if you have a rule like this. I understand the owner aspect and guys have to play whatever, but I think that's a bit of a cop out, you know?
Right.
1000%. This has very little to do with voter ability or, to be able to, like, as you mentioned, discern who's good or not based on the threshold of games. It has everything to do with baking this in without overtly saying, y'all need to be playing so we can make our money.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Like, this is just a way to just bake this in quietly to be like, let me make sure I'm getting my return on my MVP caliber player. You want to get this award, you want to get those accolades that in your other outside marketing contracts gets you extra money, gets you extra benefits. Well, then I need to get my benefits back. And I need to make sure you're on the court and getting my money for, our fans, et cetera, et cetera. So, like, they're also telling them on themselves in that way too. Yes.
Yep. Money makes sense. Yep. I totally agree with you. Okay. Next question. Robo Jim. Man,
it's tough. See, it's not so easy, isn't it?
I agree. No, you're right. You're right. I remember I made fun of you last time.
That's right.
You're absolutely right.
Why do you think I have you asking questions?
Robo Jim says, can we stop trying to crap on teams that are building from the middle? I think too many people think the only way to win is to hard tank. Also, there's a difference between a team with older vets that is stuck on a treadmill versus a mostly young team trying to figure it out. That we being the royal we.
Sure.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with the middle. I believe they're going to do lottery reform this summer. I hope they don't make it worse. But one of the things I would like to see is teams in the middle getting a shot at getting some of these high-level draft picks. Yeah. Because, frankly, look, the Chicago Bulls, we can talk about how they've been mismanaged or whatever. That doesn't do anything for the average Chicago Bulls fan.
Right.
They can't go and hire a better front office. Now, number one, they've got a great coach, actually, who gets the most out of their players. But they don't have an avenue to get talent without tanking into the draft. And again, this is a team that's constantly stuck in the play-in. Like, we make fun of them. We make fun of Atlanta for being the play-in perennials, right? Jonas Valanciunas, like, lived in the play-in for
all-time play-in member. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And we kind of pick on them, but, like, they're being competitive. They're doing the best with what they've got. So I actually would love to see whatever happens, the teams in the middle get a shot at Cam Boozer or, the next Cam Boozer or AJ Devonta or whoever.
I think the thing that happens with that, or the risk that you play out with that, is that, like, more teams in the middle will try to lose games in March and in February. And how do you de-incentivize that aspect? I don't know the answer to that, truthfully, but I think it's something that you have to address, because let's just say, like, for example, right? The Sixers don't have their pick this year, but let's say the Sixers had their pick. They are now on a losing streak. Joel Embiid is injured. Paul George is out for the next 25 games. Why wouldn't this incentivize them, if they had their pick, to just lose out the rest of the year, fall into the play-in, get themselves a good shot at one of these high lottery picks, whether it's Cam Boozer, Darren Peterson, whoever, because now you have Tyrese Maxey, you have VJ Edgecombe, you have one of these other centerpieces that you can add. I think that's the question with flattening the lottery odds. Truthfully, my opinion is you got to unflatten the lottery odds. You got to make it so that, like, 3 or 4 teams have the best chance possible to get the number 1 pick. Everybody else is cooked. They can't tank to get it. Everybody, like, there's maybe like 3 or 4 teams, the Wizards, the Nets, the Kings, whatever, that have a 25% chance of getting the best pick in the draft. Once they get that pick, they cannot go back into the top 4 of the draft the year after. Make it so that it's like in and out, in and out, get out of there and start rebuilding.
Again, the more complicated it gets, to me, the more it's going to be abused, or anytime you incentivize losing in any way, it's going to be bad. I don't know. Zena, look, we talked about this so much.
Yeah.
What's your idea?
So I don't know if I have an idea as much, because I still try to figure this out. And the thing about it is, like, the NBA is going to bring in some really smart, nerdy guys to figure out a way to manipulate any type of system.
We're going to have to learn some math.
Right. So my thing is like, I'm hearing what you're saying, Dave, on being in like finding a way for the teams that are in the middle to get a chance to be in the mix for a top draft pick. And as you were saying that, I was just processing and thinking like, what goes into getting a team in winning position? You get a cornerstone player or franchise player, or you do that through the draft, or you get that through free agency. And then you think about, okay, the teams are kind of like in the middle that are struggling to get free agents, that are struggling to be, destination spots. It sucks because it's like you can't get a free agent because you're not necessarily in a great city or a great location, and you don't necessarily have someone on your team that someone would want to come play for.
Right.
And then with that, your team's probably not making enough money to make it a super, I don't know, resources, benefits, all the things, available to you type of destination spot. And so nothing about you is attractive. So then that means the NBA needs to step in and make you attractive, right? For either free agents or, finding a way to get your spot up in the draft situation. So that's where I'm like, I get what S is saying of putting these middling teams that are kind of like in this cyclical manner of we're doing just enough. We're fighting, we're trying, but we're never going to be enough to get a big time free agent. And we're not, because we're trying, we're never going to be bad enough to get a big time draft pick. So I like this idea of the NBA stepping in and looking at towards the end of the season, who has been making the most effort to try to win, but they're just not capable of it because the talent is average. And we talked about this on the Athletic show with John Hollinger, and there's a great article right now on the Athletic where our writers came up with a ton of different ideas. There were two I really liked, and one of them was basically after All-Star break. I don't know if this was Sembacini or whoever wrote it, but basically after All-Star break, you split up the league. So the top playoff teams, they play against each other and they're working for the playoffs. Everyone else at the bottom of the basically everyone like playing down is now competing against each other to try and get a better spot in the draft. That is interesting to me. Now you're competing to make sure that you're not bad enough to drop to the bottom. You're just trying to win as many games, etc. The other thing that was interesting, John Hollinger brought up this idea of drafting your future draft pick. You talked about NBC not making it a drama, taking out the theater of it. This would be drama. Imagine in the summer, at some point, all 30 teams come together and they say, basically, if I'm like, I don't know, the Bulls, and I look at the Kings and I go, I want your draft pick for next year, or wherever your record is, or like where you're going to end up. I want your position, because I basically think that you are going to suck enough,
right?
that I want that position. And imagine the drama it would have of those two teams meeting up during the season, right? And wanting to play for that position. And the other team, the Kings, for example, being like, I want to prove you wrong. I want to get up. I want to move up in the situation. I want to make sure that you don't get that. I thought it was fun. It's not a realistic idea, but again, it's what you're talking about, S, of like, how do you not incentivize losing? Both of these ideas force you to then be in a situation of like, whether you were losing or not, you're like, okay, now we can't lose. We have to do something. Either one, to prove another team wrong and not allow them to get your pick, or two, to get yourself, in a better position in the draft period. So I don't know what the answer is, but I like those ideas in general.
I just generally don't need game theory in my sport, right? Like that just isn't something that's interesting to me. Like the behind the scenes stuff is whatever. I just want to watch good basketball games and competitive basketball games. To me, if your team is trying, that shouldn't count against you somehow.
Yeah.
At getting better. But the Chicago Bulls also, by the way, this is one of the, and maybe it doesn't come up nearly enough because they've been bad now for so long, but they had Michael Jordan. They were, I don't know if you know this, but they used to be a big deal, right? Around the world. I mean, we talk about the Lakers now like this. The Chicago Bulls should have been a draw. Chicago's a fantastic city. I know,
right?
It's cold in the winter, but it's a great city. Guys want to go to New York. I cannot believe that they don't want to go to Chicago. And it's because
look at what's happening with Miami.
Bad ownership.
Look at what's happening with Miami. And Miami was way more recent, right?
Yeah.
But
Miami's got a different thing. Miami's got a different thing.
Weather.
Heat culture. The Heat culture is also an issue.
Michael Jordan, the actor from Sinners.
Yeah, Michael Jordan. We need a Michael C. Jordan. That's all I got to say. Like,
chin dimples and everything, man.
No, but the Chicago Bulls really just fumbled this entire thing. It's been, it just bad ownership, right? The greatest, shout out to Danny LaRue. The greatest competitive advantage in sports is good ownership because, you just take your hands off and let the guys who know what they're doing do it.
By the way,
what's next?
Yeah, so we actually had a comment replying to that question. Albasa from the chat said, no, we should keep ridiculing the middle class. Anyways, Philippe, what teams need to make the biggest adjustment?
I was going to say, I was like, that feels personal.
Philippe says, what teams need to make the biggest adjustments, not injury dependent, to how they are currently playing to maximize their chances to have success in the playoffs? I think that's a really interesting question.
That is a great question.
Zena.
Ooh, what teams need to? It's kind of hard. I was going to say, like, I'm thinking of particularly New York, but New York has won 15 of their last 19, and they have kept 10 of those teams to under 100 points.
They're playing better.
They're playing better. Defense would have been the number one thing I would have recommended for them. And now I just want to see consistency. And I think it's a perfect setup for tonight's game, even though it's a back-to-back. And they just went through the Raptors that are not an easy team. Dave and I were talking about this before the recording started. I am curious to see what happens on this back-to-back. Thinking, how do they get through the adversity of having gone through the Raptors, coming up against the Thunder? Will they still be able to lock out a win? How will they do on defense when they're a little bit more fatigued, where offense isn't clicking as much? We know that when their offense is good, their defense is better. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of who
I have
a
team. You know what we called this stream?
What do we call it?
Do the Pistons rely on Cade Cunningham?
Oh, that's another one. I mean, I've told you guys this. They don't have enough. To me, Jalen Duren is not enough as a second option for Detroit when Cade is not playing well.
But I wonder if there is any adjustment that they could make to because like the question was about adjustments, right?
Right.
And the roster is set up in such a way that like they have to rely on Cade so much.
It's their identity.
Yeah, to your point, Zena, the next option is Jalen Duren, and then it's Tobias Harris and Asar and Duncan Robinson and those guys, and you're like, you don't have this is the thing with the Pistons, and like I'm thinking about this right now as well, but the easiest blueprint for them to like look at is the Thunder team last year, right? Crazy defense led by this heliocentric guard who can score and obviously created a bunch. But the big difference between the Thunder last year and this Pistons team is having a Jalen Williams who was all NBA last year, all defense last year. Like, you don't have that player. Now, you might be able to argue Jalen Duren has become that. I just don't think like having a big man be your second option.
Yeah, you need a wing or another guard. And they just don't have that guy on the roster. It's funny. I think they're more like the Knicks a couple seasons ago. When you look at the way that Jalen Brunson took so much of the offensive load. I mean, I look at Cade Cunningham is essentially a power running back in old school football. And it's, hey, you're gonna run the ball 30 times a game. We watch him. I mean, he's had some of the worst shooting performances of anyone this season. And it's because the shot diet is rough. Again, go back to the football analogy. Like, he doesn't have a good offensive line out there. He's just got to make stuff happen. They have one shooter on the court at most when he's out there on the court. That's their biggest issue. It's secondary creation is a problem for them, and it's going to be a problem in the playoffs. But the bigger, more glaring one is shooting, and so there is no adjustment for them on the roster. So I think that you're correct there. I
got an adjustment when you're ready.
Go.
And I'm trying to find the lineup data right now.
I'm really curious which team, because I have a team in mind right now. I'm curious what team you got.
Houston's got to change their fourth quarter.
Boom. Exactly. There we go. That was the exact same team I was thinking.
I don't know if they need to wait to bring KD in terms of like starting the fourth quarter versus wait a few minutes before you bring him in. Their fourth quarter falls apart and they don't quite have enough energy at the end of them. Yep. They need like a in-game off the bench spark to happen within the fourth quarter. And I'm curious. That's what I'm trying to find out who.
Well, they needed a guard at the deadline. And this was,
they did.
Colin Sexton was sitting out there. They could have maybe been in on Anthony Simons. I mean, there are guys out there that could have helped them coming off the bench, but I don't know. The Fred VanVleet injury has essentially cast a shadow on this entire season.
Yeah, it has. I think they need to rely on Reed Shepherd more. Like, I think they need to close with Reed more, and to give them credit, they have been doing that more recently. But they just need to rely on him more because he is such a good release valve.
You're choosing Reed over Amen?
I'm choosing Reed over probably Jabari.
I think I disagree with that.
Because
I like
his rim protection. I think Jabari. I think
need a men's defense at the point of attack a little bit more than Jabari's.
I think you need his shooting. I think you need Jabari's shooting.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, I agree. This is the problem with the Thompson twins. Like this same thing applies to Sarr in Detroit. It's like they are so important to the defensive infrastructure of both of their teams, but you can sag off of them and basically play 4-on-5 on offense. And
they're not big enough. It's not like Giannis.
Yeah.
When teams would sag off Giannis and dare him to shoot, Giannis is going to the hoop. And those guys, it's just going to be a different thing. They're going to have a sea of arms, meeting them. And the creativity involved to have a non-shooter and really, he's not really like a great ball handler either. So it's not like this is you can't take a man and have him just get 2 feet in the paint and create chaos. It doesn't really work, especially with this team. Şengün creates a little bit of an issue too, just because the spaces that a man needs to operate in is where you kind of want Şengün working. So I just, again, it's been a problem for him all year. I think that's a good call, Zena. I got one for you guys. Cleveland.
Okay.
I think that they've got to figure out how much can they go Mobley, Allen together down the stretch of games.
I don't think they can go Mobley, Allen at these like a close game in the clutch. I mean, we talked about this a little bit, Dave, last night. But I really you saw it in one of their games against, I believe it was either Detroit or someone else, where they were just leaving Evan Mobley wide open.
Yep.
He's not shooting well enough.
And he's not shooting well enough for that to be the case. And he's like, of course, kind of similar to what we just talked about with Sarr and Amen. He's not going to be barreling his way to the basket when there's 4 defenders in the paint.
He pump fakes out of too many shots.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they've got other guys. I think that they can slide in. And this is a crazy conversation to have right now about Evan Mobley, because I didn't expect to be here. But to me, their best, 4 of their best 5 guys is going to be Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jared Allen, and Jalen Tyson.
Why not? Can I ask you a question? Why not flip Mobley and Allen? Like have it be Mobley, Jalen Tyson, Sam Merrill, James Harden, Donovan Mitchell instead of Allen with those guys?
I don't know, man. I think I just trust Allen's rim defense and rebounding and pick and roll work better.
That's the last part for me. James and Allen's pick and roll is money.
Yeah, it's really good.
Like you can cash in on that. And right now, it's just not the same consistency that I'm seeing out of Evan Mobley in that role. We're not even seeing the Evan Mobley, Jared Allen connection as much as we were at the top of the year. So it's I feel like we don't necessarily need them on the floor together. It was great to see the two-headed snake come together and just make it incredibly difficult for defenses to have to pick and choose. But right now they've been choosing, and they've been choosing more so. Jared Allen is more of a threat to us than Evan Mobley at the top of the key. And when that happens, it's incredibly hard for Evan Mobley to capitalize on that high-low situation, which I don't even know. Like, I feel like I remember the commentary earlier in the season to be like, oh, Evan Mobley's shooting outside, but it was more so corners, less than the top of the key. And so, yeah, I that's a good adjustment. I would probably split them up as well. And you get different looks. Right. Like you get different looks when you have them in. Yes, you have a little bit more of a traditional in-out game. And a bit more traditional pick and roll game, which is great. Let Donovan come off those, James Harden come off those, let them cook when he's in the game, and then have a more agile game when Evan Mobley's in.
Oh, and I think with Mobley, he can give you a little bit of a switchier defense if you need it.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a big postseason for Kenny Atkinson. I think it's a big postseason for Kenny Atkinson. Okay, Bear Sun, and I'm not mispronouncing that. I really do think his is Bear Sun.
Sun as in like a star?
No,
or sun as in okay.
Yeah. So Cub, perhaps.
Cub.
Which team has the better medium-term 3 to 5 year outlook? The Pistons or the Spurs?
I mean, that one pretty easy.
I agree, it's pretty easy. It's interesting to
Spurs.
me that this is a conversation. I wonder if this person is a Pistons fan. You know?
I will say that, you know what though? The Pistons have a shot to make more finals appearances in the next 3 to 5 years because they're in the East.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the Spurs,
look, but okay, so
Wemby might not, he's not the best player in the world yet.
East, you know,
Wemby's not the best player in the world yet, but he pretty clearly is going to be. Mm-hmm. He may already be the most impactful player in the NBA. Period. Defensively, the way that he impacts every single possession he's on the court defensively. And then on the offensive end, I mean, look, you can't leave him unguarded and he'll go stand in the corner.
Yeah.
And he really is wide open.
You know, the crazy thing about Wemby is like he hasn't even scratched the surface offensively as to what he can do. He's still in the like playground, I'm in my sandbox type of thing of trying to figure out what he can do, whether it's the mid-range game to start the season, whether it was getting to the hoop, whether it's a three-point shot. Like I just feel like he still doesn't necessarily know what kind of offensive player he wants to be on any given night, which is crazy. Like it still feels like Bambi, you know, like he still runs like that, but he just is an incredible defender already. And yeah, I think it's the Spurs. I also think it's the Spurs because Dylan Harper.
Yeah.
Like he's, I don't,
Steph Castle.
And Steph Castle.
An endless name of guys. Like we could just name off guys. Steph Castle. I didn't know he was going to be this good.
Yeah. I mean, look, all respect to Jalen Duren, who has turned himself into an all-star and is going to get paid like it this summer. I think Asar is very, very talented defensively. We just talked about some of his flaws. Ron Holland is a really fun guy to watch. Good role player, I think. Maybe he'll develop into something else. Do any of those guys give you the same excitement as a Dylan Harper? I don't necessarily think so. No. Okay.
Detroit still just needs their vets in a way that I think the Spurs don't necessarily. Like, don't get me wrong. De'Aaron Fox has been great for them and leads them. Harrison Barnes has been great, but we've seen them close out games with Vassell, Harper, Castle, Wemby on the floor. That's huge. That's massive.
Oh, hey, by the way, good shout from the YouTube chat. There's 8 guys in San Antonio averaging 10 points a game.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's absolutely nuts. Hey, I'll adjust this question a little bit. Who has the better chance to make it to the NBA Finals this year, the Spurs or the Pistons? Is it just obviously the Pistons?
I think it's the Pistons just because the East is a little bit easier.
Okay.
Although I just don't. It's not as easy as it was in October.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the Cavs, New York
got way better.
I think
the Celtics have looked so good. Look in my head, this Celtics team, I would put them slightly above last year's team. I like this team. I think they're a little bit more dynamic athletically. Neemias Queta has been great for them. You know, the guys that they've got coming off the bench, these like high activity, big wings, they didn't have this athleticism last year. And so in a lot of ways, they've got something happening there. I just think, it's much tougher now than it looked in October. But I think I would say the Pistons have a better shot this season.
N. Stinson says, who is the current dirtiest player in the NBA? Also,
we got a lot of Thunder fans that listen to this podcast.
Right.
Tread lightly, guys.
Also, who is the current best enforcer in the NBA? I'm just going to go ahead and say enforcer. I'm going to say Isaiah Stewart.
Isaiah Stewart.
I really thought you were just going to go for it. Yeah, Isaiah Stewart's a good one.
What did you think I was going to
I thought you were just going to drop the Dort bomb on us.
No. I don't know. Who actually is the dirty? Because like everybody is gonna say Lou Dort, but I feel like there has to be a dirtier player in the NBA, man.
It depends on who you ask, right?
Do you want
I
an
agree.
accumulation of history?
Like,
Yeah,
you know, 'cause, like,
Draymond,
Draymond
you know?
Green has
You know?
some what we would call dirty incidents.
He
I have
stomped
a
on
hard time.
DeMontis Sabonis's chest.
I have a hard time with the term dirty player.
I do
Now,
too.
dirty plays,
Mhm.
certainly.
I
we see
think
'em.
that's what maybe that's why like I'm hesitant to go forward with
Yeah.
that because it's kind of like saying like you're a bad communicator, period, versus you communicated poorly in that moment.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know if you're a dirty player in general. Like I don't think you achieved your NBA success from being dirty, but yeah, you probably executed some dirty plays.
Yeah. But
Who's
Dort,
the worst?
look, Lou Dort had a highlight reel
I
that
know.
someone made, and
Dort
I do
has a
feel
highlight reel. Green has a highlight reel.
right. The thing is that, and this is a great another great shout out from the YouTube chat. It's Dort purely because the Thunder matches are always relevant. He's always in front of people's eyes. So yeah, he is maybe now he's maybe taken Draymond Green's throne as the most high profile.
No, because the Warriors used to be the team that was always being watched.
Right.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And as the Thunder have become NBA villains in
Mhm.
record time, by the way, which you know,
Yeah.
kind of crazy how fast people have turned on them. I do think, yeah, it's got to be like.
I will also say, from watching a team that has no enforcers and no dirty players in the Toronto Raptors, it's actually kind of frustrating to have a
nice
team that
guys.
just like withers away when they're confronted.
The
It's
Cleveland
like,
Cavaliers
yeah,
had this problem for a couple of years.
Like you actually, I would like a Dylan Brooks on this Raptors team.
Dylan Brooks makes a difference.
Just because like you need someone who's not going to take stuff, you know, like it just that I think that's really important for the NBA, especially currently where like physicality plays a role, you know, but not to the point where fights are happening.
Like imagine like,
you know,
the funny thing is
like,
you don't even need that player playing. Like look at the Pacers. You know what I mean? Like you don't need them to be active. They just need to be in the ecosystem.
Yeah, just someone to set the tone, just someone to say, hey.
I mean, listen, but Beef Stew for sure, I think he's the best enforcer because he actually shows up. He's not a hold me back guy, right?
He's
like
a willing participant.
He came off the bench with ice on his knees, man. Like he is ready. So,
dude, he's also like he's actually also good at basketball. That's I think that's an important thing about an enforcer.
Yeah.
Like he actually is a very good basketball.
He's not
player.
A goon.
No,
right?
He's not
Hockey,
like some hired gun. He's just
and hockey used to have these guys. They weren't very good. They couldn't really skate, but they could fight. Yeah, and NBA used to have these guys, but no, Beef Stew can play. He also and there's a chilling effect that comes with having a guy like that on your team. You're gonna shut down the other team's physicality pretty quick. That guy starts getting a little heated.
Yeah. Okay. DK42 group text sent this one in the morning. Will the Thunder win the title without J-Dub, assuming all other players are back and healthy? I'll just answer this quickly. No, I do not think they can win without J-Dub. I mean, for the very same reasons I just said about the Pistons and not having a valid second option.
Right.
I do not, especially in the Western Conference.
AJ Mitchell and Jared McCain.
It's fun.
Yeah, like, that doesn't give you any boost or anything.
Yeah. Look, I like it. The shot making makes sense. It's cool. You still need someone who can drive to the hoop and get a bucket. And if you wall off SGA, what are your other options? I don't know. I say no. I don't think they can.
I've just seen the systems work so well for them.
It's a great system. I agree. I don't deny that. And by the way, if they do win, I will eat crow, bro, because that would be one of the most impressive championship runs I've ever seen if they win without their second best player.
I kind of feel like they could. I just feel like they have enough weapons. And they also not only have enough weapons, I think they have a coach and a system that can adjust. And they've been doing it all season long, literally all season long.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a tough
one. They're gonna be playing teams that can guard. If
they face the Spurs without Jalen Williams, they're cooked. They're cooked.
I think they're cooked. Maybe even with him, but they're cooked without him for sure. They're gonna be able to throw 2 at Shea anytime they want. I think I'm with you, man. If J-Dub can't come back and contribute and be healthy, I think that's a big problem for them.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm open to having my mind
regular season is just such a different beast. And
Yeah.
like you can grind wins as a good deep team in the regular season. Once you get to the playoffs, Shea is going to have such a hard time. So
we even saw it last year. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I do think they need Jalen Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do one
Yeah.
more and
Okay.
then let's wrap.
Yeah. So this is funny. We can end off on this. Kemmer. I don't know. Been watching some Celtics lineups and thinking again, what's the greatest 5-man all bald lineup
Oh yeah.
with positions?
Oh, you got to start this off, Dave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kick us off, Dave.
Well, Michael Jordan
Michael Jordan.
Yep.
is in
Great
there.
call,
Kobe
man.
on that.
Kobe?
Kobe doesn't count.
Kobe.
Was he not
Yeah.
bald?
I mean,
I don't think he was bald.
I think he was bald by choice.
Okay, but no.
Well, was Michael
bald by
not?
choice is Michael was bald by choice early.
Yeah, but like, you know.
All right, if Kobe's bald, then yeah, Kobe's in there.
Okay, so
Kareem.
I'm now wondering if I should.
is Kareem
Kareem's
bald?
the center. Yeah.
I just want to do Manu because Manu. You know, I feel like
He
the
was bald
quintessential-
late.
He was the
Does that
quintessential.
count? You think
bald
about him as
spot.
bald. That makes me
Wait,
feel so
who?
old.
Well, yeah, I know he had hair in 2002, man, but like the bald
Wait, who
spot.
are we
was
talking
iconic.
about? I missed
Manu
this.
Manu
Ginobili.
Ginobili. Manu.
Oh, well, see, here's the thing. Now the question is becoming, who's the all-time 5-man went bald because their hairline was thinning conversation?
But that's okay. But
And
there's
that's-
not a lot of
Hey,
people.
shout out
who
to
are-
my guy Jalen Suggs. Thank you very much for
Yeah,
doing
he
it,
did
man.
go
We're
bald.
proud of you, bro.
Derek White?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, but he's not on the all-time list.
No,
Look,
of
if
course
we got
not. I'm not- of
Kobe,
course.
we got Michael Jordan, we got Kareem,
Manu.
Shaq.
Shaq for sure.
Yeah,
sure.
Shaq counts. Yeah.
Dennis
I'm-
Scott.
Listen, Manu, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah,
Manu.
Charles Barkley. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, there you go.
K
I forget.
Dahlgren.
You guys are hating
249 on
Manu,
YouTube.
man.
Charles Barkley. Manu Ginobili, one of the greatest players to ever play in the NBA. And would have been a top 12 player all time if he didn't come
He's
off
a
the
top
bench.
6 bald player all time.
I'm fine with that. I'm
Thank
down with that.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
There you go.
Steph, shave your head, man. Come on. Join the club. You look like my twin.
He's good.
All right.
He's good.
Yeah. All right, guys. That's going to do it for the
We should
show.
do a top 5 bald podcasters at some.
I know who's my number one pick.
Yeah, same.
All right. Okay.
Same.
Pandering.
Right.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us. If you're listening to the show, don't forget we do this stream every Wednesday morning, Pacific time, 9 a.m., 12 Eastern. So I guess, lunchtime on the East Coast. Give us a 5-star review wherever you listen to podcasts and like and subscribe over on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode of the NBA Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us. For Zena Keita and Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the Morning Shoot Around.